Good evening, my fellow Darklings. I'm Kimi Chameleon, contributing writer over at Dark Media. Welcome to the Supernatural Dish. After months of waiting for this season premiere of Supernatural, we are finally treated to this bloody episode. And I say bloody because really there must have been a sale at some warehouse special effects department or something, because there was so much blood. So bravo to the effects team over at Supernatural. Leave it to Supernatural to make anything and everything terrifying, even angels. Yeah, angels. How did this happen? Well, if I remember correctly, when God left in last season, where does God go? God's scribe, Metatron, the one that knows all of God's secrets, the one who wrote the tablets, the one who knows everything that God knows, decided since God left that he was going to escape to Earth and hide out, away from those power-hungry angels. Because the angels would do God knows what with this knowledge. God knows what. God really doesn't know what, I don't think, because he's not here. Now Metatron wants revenge on these crazy angels, so basically he takes it out on Castiel. And he sort of performs this thing in last episode where he strips Castiel of his grace, causing him to fall to earth, to become human. There, at that time, once Dean did not complete the trials of God, all of the angels, after the gates of heaven closed, fell to the earth like great balls of fire. They fell from the sky. So now heaven is closed and every single angel is on earth, wingless. Cass is now literally the fall guy. Poor Cass. The last time we saw Sam and Dean, it was in a church, and Dean was basically begging Sam not to complete the trials of God because he knew that it would kill him, and Dean just simply can't live without Sam. No, he can't. So that's where we left off. And at the start of the season, gloriousness, they're inside of the Impala, just chit-chatting back and forth about all the things that just happened. And it isn't too long that we find out that really that's not reality. No, Sam is actually in a coma and he's injured really badly. He's burning from the inside. Sam's injuries are so severe that the doctor who comes to talk to Dean says it's in God's hands now, which really pisses Dean off. Really? It's in God's hands now? Dean's kind of really upset with God. I totally don't blame him. So, feeling helpless and desperate, Dean decides to visit the hospital chapel. He moseys on over there and begins to pray to Cass. What Dean doesn't realize is that Cass can't hear him, Cass can't answer him, Cass can't do anything because now he's a human and he can't answer the call. So basically, Dean doesn't get a response and he decides that he's gonna put out an all points bulletin on Angel Radio. Starts praying really hard. Okay, every single angel that can hear me, I want you to come and help me save my brother. And you know it's worth your while because you got me and I'm gonna help you if you help me. So, good deal. Sort of makes me wish I was an angel. Like, I'd be like, hey, I just healed your brother, and so, like, do me a solid and help me unzip this dress right here. So we're back in the Impala now, and Sam eventually is convinced that this isn't reality, that actually he is in a coma. The dean in his coma tells him, dude, you're in a coma and you're really messed up and you're probably gonna die. And finally, eventually, Sam believes him. It quickly becomes clear to Sam that Dean is the representation of his will to live. Of course it is. So basically, Dean just keeps telling Sam, please, just fight to live. Don't die. Please don't die on me. And then we get the other part of Sam that is the part of him that just sort of wants to cross over and accept death because he's lived a good life. And guess who pops in? Right in the car. Bobby. So fantastic to see Bobby. Idiots. Balls. No, he didn't say balls, but he should have. He usually does. Balls. It's like a family reunion, but we all know that Bobby just basically is that part of Sam that wants to accept that maybe his time is up. Maybe it's time to just give up life on Earth and just cross over. No. Next we see Cass in some backcountry woods, and he almost gets hit by a truck. And he starts to bleed on his hand, and Lyra like, oh my gosh, he's for real, he's human, because his hand's not healing. Oh, this is real, this is really happening. So then the guy gets out of the truck and he comes over to Cass and he's like, hey dude, are you okay? And like, you know, true Cass personality, he's like, I heard angels. No, he's more serious than that. I heard angels. And when the guy in the truck asks him if he needs a ride, Cass says, I would fly, but I have no wings anymore. Oh, that Cass. So Cass gets in the truck and the guy drops him off at some like liquor store or something so that Cass can make his phone call. And out of the kindness of this stranger's heart, he hands over Cass some spare change, and Cass is like, no, I don't want to take your money, but then, you know, eventually he takes it, you know. That's like a really big human gesture, to offer kindness to a stranger. It's at this moment when Cass starts walking towards the payphone that we see this girl sitting in a vehicle, and she kind of looks over at Cass like she recognizes him, and she approaches him and she introduces herself as Hale. 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 She lets Cass know that she's a fallen angel, and they have this nice little chit chat about, you know, the new normal, there's no heaven anymore, and she's kind of lost and doesn't really know what to do. And he basically tries to tell her, you know, I'm here for you, and I'm gonna help you see how wonderful everything can be, because now you're not under God's control. You have your own free will. Yay, team free will. Ow! Cass asks Hale what she would like to do. She can do anything. To which she replies, you know, I built something a really long time ago, the last time I was here on Earth. Basically, she says she built the Grand Canyon. And Cass is like, the Grand Canyon? And she's like, oh, yeah. And so, you know, sure. He agrees to take her. They're going to go and take a little road trip and see the Grand Canyon, which Hale built. So Cass decides he's going to go ahead and try and get a hold of Dean. And he gets a hold of him. He calls him up, and Dean's like, dude, where are you? Can't you come and help me? Why didn't you respond to me? And Cass is like, I don't have my wings anymore, and I am human. And Dean's like, hey buddy, you know, I put out a call for all these angels to come and help me because Sammy's dying. And they're all responding, but some of them are kind of pissed. Actually, they all kind of want you dead, Cass. So you just better go and hide out and not hang out with Hale, because you'll end up dead. And then Dean informs Cass that there's actually this one angel who has agreed to help Sammy, and his name is Ezekiel. And, you know, Cass is cool with Ezekiel. He just sort of says, Ezekiel, yeah, he's a good soldier. So obviously Cass approves of Ezekiel, but in my opinion Cass kind of trusts everybody, so you know, I'm on the fence about that guy. So you know how there's just this magical bromance between Cass and Dean. Cass decides it's time that he needs to go and be by Dean's side and Sam's side and just kind of get over there real quick. The only problem is when Cass goes to tell Hale that their little Grand Canyon adventure is off, she goes a little nutty and she knocks him out with a big piece of wood. Next thing you know, Cass wakes up and he has been Cass-nabbed. Hale has decided that she's going to make Cass go with her, and there's really basically nothing he can do about it. So he's just got to sit in the truck and just deal. With his quick thinking, Cass sees that Hale is not wearing her seatbelt. I guess angels don't wear seatbelts. So he makes sure his is on nice and snug and then pulls on the steering wheel. And they go and they crash. Then Cass wakes up. He's got blood all over him. All over. He gets out of the car and he walks over, and there's Hale, and she's this bloody mess with her head all squishy with blood, and there's like glass shards, and her legs all twisted, and she's just basically a hot mess of blood. But she still has a fight in her, and she looks over at Cass and she says, if you don't come with me and let me possess your body, because that's my ultimate plan, we're gonna be one. We're gonna be one, Cass. And I totally don't blame her, because I want to be one with him too. Anyways, so she's like, we're gonna go and I'm gonna get in your body and we're gonna be one. We're gonna walk around in this vessel of yours because you're strong, and together we're gonna see the world, and it's gonna be all fancy and stuff, and it's gonna be a happy good time. I mean, she didn't really put it that way, but that's how I kind of took it. And then when Cass says no, she flips and starts yelling and saying, if you don't go, I am gonna call all the angels, because everybody wants to see you dead, because actually this is all your fault. And he says, oh no, you know, and he's trying to say, no, I want to help you, my desire is to help you. And she's like not having any of it. In a really human moment for Cass, he grabs an angel sword that he found in the car, and he goes and he kind of just like stabs her. And it was really sad because, you know, Cass is human now. We have guilt. We have guilt when we kill people. It's kind of sad. So now we switch back to the scene where Sam is, you know, in his head. He's in his state of coma, and he's basically walking around in a forest with Bobby, and they're kind of discussing, you know, how it's time for him to go. It's time for him to just let go of his physical body and to let go of this whole madness and cross over. And Bobby's the one to tell him all of this. And, you know, Sam seems to really enjoy and feel Bobby's encouraging words of, you know, dying. That's kind of not nice. They reach this little cabin in the woods, and Bobby says, Sam, just go inside there and it'll all be over with, and I'll be waiting for you on the other side with a couple cold ones. Sounds like a good time, actually. Just then, Dean pops up in the forest behind Bobby, and he like stabs him. Ugh, like he stabs Bobby. That was like atrocious looking to see Dean just kill Bobby. But of course, it's just all like this symbolic representation inside Sam's mind, and he knows it. It just was a little harsh, you know? We don't want to see Dean killing Bobby. So then Dean starts arguing with Sam about, you know, you gotta stay alive, you gotta give a damn. You know, all his regular Deanisms, and he's like pleading with him to stay alive. And then Sam just is like, no, I'm gonna go in that house. So meanwhile, in the hospital, Ezekiel basically tells Dean that Sam just isn't gonna make it. He's just way too weak. He's too dead. There's just nothing he can do. No good thing that he can do. And at this point, Dean is so desperate. He's like, well, I would do anything to keep him alive. Anything. Just what is the bad thing? What is the bad thing that I could do to keep my brother alive? Because I'm out of options. And Ezekiel basically explains to him, I would have to possess Sam. I would have to get inside him and possess him. And Dean's like, I don't know if I can accept you possessing Sam. He wouldn't go for it. And basically Ezekiel says, well, then he would trust you to make that choice for him. And Dean, of course, is like, I don't know. He's like battling it in his head. And he says, is there any way you can guarantee me that Sam really is in a bad place and that he's really gonna die? So Ezekiel does this like mind melt thing where they kind of hold hands and then they touch Sam and they get into his head and they see exactly what Sam is seeing. And we go straight into that house when we see Sam walk in, and who is on the other side? Death. That's right, Death himself is waiting. Although Sam can't see that Dean and Ezekiel are looking in, Death is waiting in the house with Sam. And he basically says, you know, I just had to come myself because I heard that it was your time, that you were crossing over this time. The Sam Winchester. I am honored to take Sam Winchester. Fangirling! Yes, Death is fangirling over Sam Winchester. Don't we all? It's at that moment that the vision of Dean appears in this house between Death, Sam, and him. And Dean starts pleading with him, you know, you gotta stay, I need you to fight. And there's Sam like, no. And then he's looking at Dean and oh, his heart's breaking because he's seeing his brother just pleading with him. He's pleading with him. And then he says this line and it just like gets you. And you're like, I don't know if this is cheesy or not, but oh my gosh. Oh, the feels. It's all coming on. There ain't no me if there ain't no you. So Sam gives in and he's like, you know what? Okay. And he goes over to join his brother. It's not time yet. And he goes over and Dean reaches out to grab Sam like this to take him back. And like just for a split second, we see that it's Ezekiel. And like there's like this light. So Sam has been successfully possessed with the permission of Dean by Ezekiel. Even though I know this is gonna not go over well with Sam at all because of, you know, I mean, he was possessed by other people, Lucifer, and all this madness has happened before. I just kind of know that this is gonna not go over well with Sam, but he's alive, and at this moment, that's all that matters. He's alive. Well, he's sorta alive. Ezekiel basically explains to Dean that both he and Sam are weak, and so it's going to take some time for them to kind of become more and more alive. So it's a win-win situation for both of them because they will heal off of the strength of each other. But he assures Dean that he's going to hide, and Sam won't even know that he's inside of his body. On top of that, Ezekiel basically says, I'm going to erase Sam's whole memory that he ever was in the hospital, and it's all gonna be good, and he won't remember. And Dean's like, okay. So now we get to the best part of the whole episode. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Being all dirty and filthy, Cass wanders into this laundromat and begins to strip off of his clothes. Just kind of takes it all off and he sticks it in the washing machine. But then the whole scene kind of takes a turn. Oh, the real struggle of being human, down to hunger pains, down to, you know, would you rather have clean clothes or starve? And so at this point, this brilliant scene of Cass trying to stick the coins in the slot of the washing machine with his trench coat, soiled in blood, needs to get clean, but soiled in blood, and it's in the washing machine, and he's gonna put the change in, and he looks over and he sees a vending machine, and it's filled with snacks, and there's drinks over there, and it's this moment, this poetic moment of just, what do I do? What do I do? You know, now I'm human. Now I gotta replenish myself with basic things like food and water. And just like that, the next scene we see is Cass is walking out of the laundromat, and he's got a bottle of water, and he has a whole new outfit on, a hoodie. Bye-bye, trench coat. I am so gonna miss this trench coat. But how symbolic is that? To give up the trench coat, to give up that whole angel, the thing that we've come to know and love Cass. Now he is stripped of all of that. He is stripped of his grace. He is just human with human needs. And now I have a human need to kind of just watch that scene all over again. So the very last scene of the episode basically sticks us back in the Impala, and except now we are in reality, and Sam wakes up. Sam I Am, not Easy Sam, Ezekiel Sam. I call him Easy Sam. And Sam I Am wakes up, and he's like, hey, whoa, I feel like I've been sleeping for a week. And Dean says, oh no, it's just been a day, and you're fine, and all the angels fell to earth, and everybody thinks it's a meteor shower, which that doesn't make any sense, because if I saw like a meteor shower like they were showing, where there's like balls of fire crashing down to earth, I think we would all be pretty much freaking out. But anyways, so he basically tells him, you just were sleeping, and you know, I just stuck you in the car and we've been driving around, so everything's cool, okay? And Sam's like, okay, that's good. You know, all of that sucks, and I didn't complete the trials, but wow, we got work to do. One little thing that I didn't mention was that out of desperation, Dean for a split second considered going to Crowley for help, which, by the way, we knew Crowley was present, but he was in the trunk of the Impala. That was pretty funny. So this is where we leave off. Ezekiel is inside of Sam's body. This is a huge secret. Dean doesn't want Sam to know anything, because the second that Sam finds out, he will reject Ezekiel and die instantly. So yeah, that would kind of suck. So we got to keep this whole thing a secret from Sam. I don't know how that's going to be possible, but it's something we got to do. And so what do? We got to carry on. We just got to carry on. We got work to do. Thank you, my darklings, for joining me for this first little episode of the Supernatural Dish. I think as time goes on, I'll get a little bit more comfortable with what this whole thing is, and we'll have some fun. So if you have any comments or any suggestions or anything at all, and you want to talk about how awesome the scene was when Cass had to wash his clothes in the laundromat, or whatever you want to talk about, go ahead and leave some comments and we'll get back to you. Thanks again, and be sure to check out Dark Media. Goodbye.